Imagine a world where one ruler regulated fundamental American constitutional rights. This ruler has no obligation to the Supreme Court, Congress, and even the president. It does not conform to the letter nor the spirit of American law. The amendments are just suggestions, not commitments to uphold. To us, we are free, and to it, we are its subjects. This ruler is an AI, a series of permanent ones and zeros which regulate the temporary life and blood of human beings. This entire description I gave you was illustrated in Hideo Kojima's Metal Gear Solid 2: Sons of Liberty. Set in a fictional 2008, a political organization named the Patriots has sabotaged the federal government, effectively capping its will to exercise power. The Patriots became a ruling body, even assuming higher power than the Constitution itself. It enjoyed unlimited political power, but one thing challenged its monopoly: the internet. With the rise of the internet, the Patriots have sought to limit the waterfall of information that is posted. To clog it, the Patriots have constructed an AI named GW. Its sole purpose was to infiltrate human technology and eliminate digital speech that was deemed unworthy of human evolution. The two-part issue I bring to you is, can the United States knowingly yield its power to the unelected few? And can it have an AI enforce speech on its behalf? Before we answer such questions, we need to get into the thick and weeds of who the Patriots are. To begin with, and even dangerously so, not many know of their existence. But what they do control are the major aspects of American society. The fictional US President Johnson in Metal Gear says bluntly,
I wanted absolute power.
But you're the president. You have power.
No, I'm just a figurehead.
What?
I don't have any control. The real power is in the Patriots' hands.
The Patriots?
The truth behind this country. I'm not surprised you've never heard of them. Very few are aware of their existence, even among those with code word clearance.
Huh?
Politics, the military, the economy, they control it all. They even choose who becomes president. Putting it simply, the Patriots rule this country.
No.
Hard to believe, isn't it? But it's the truth. The space defense, income tax reduction, and national missile defense programs. Every policy that's been credited to me was actually done according to their instructions.
Space defense was initiated by Congress.
That's what the Patriots want the country to believe. It's all a show. Democracy is just a filler for textbooks. Think about it. Do you actually believe that public opinion influences the government?
No.
This country is shaped and controlled as the Patriots see fit.
The entire description is exactly what James Madison feared in Federalist Paper number 10. Specifically on page 74, he wrote, quote, "No man is allowed to be a judge in his own cause, because his interest would certainly bias his judgment and corrupt its integrity. With equal, no, with greater reason, a body of men are unfit to be both judges and parties at the same time." End of quote. The Patriots have direct control and final say in decision-making, not taking into consideration any checks and balances as prescribed by the Constitution. In James Madison's case, the few do rule the country. To back James Madison, the U.S. Constitution's Article 2 does view the Patriots as an illegitimate power. Section 1 says, quote, "Each state shall appoint in manner as the legislature thereof may direct a number of electors equal to the whole number of senators and representatives to which the state may be entitled in the Congress. But no senator or representative or person holding an office of trust or profit under the United States shall be appointed an elector." End of quote. States are comprised of state legislatures and even American citizens who need to vote for the federal body of government. The Patriots, on the other hand, were not voted into office, nor does anyone know of their existence to rule. In turn, this is an illegal body controlling parts of the federal government through no consent. So, What does a constitutional lawyer or even a citizen do in this scenario? Well, it does get complicated, as there are no real-life cases where an unknown body of people control the government. The closest examples where the United States was on the verge of being overthrown were during the Civil and Cold War. Quite simply, we were facing the threat of rebel Americans and the communists. For the case of the Civil War, during the year 1878, the Supreme Court of the United States heard a case from the Reconstruction-era state of Tennessee. In Coleman v. Tennessee, the former Confederate state accused a Union soldier by the name of Coleman for committing the murder of a lady named Morning Ann Bell. Initially, during the war, the state did try him for his crime, but could no longer as the Union took over Tennessee. It did attempt to try Coleman again, but he later appealed the decision based on being a Union soldier in the non-legally binding Confederate states. However, the Supreme Court rejected both parties in an interesting decision. For Tennessee, they did not reserve the authority to try a Union veteran for war crimes. At the same time, however, such military members are subject to federal war laws and the Constitution, which does entail punishment. In connection to Metal Gear Solid 2's Patriots organization, the president, or any federal official, does not answer to illegitimate forms of government, but only to agreed upon laws and the Constitution. Regarding the communist movement in the United States, the Patriots have committed real crimes of treason. This point is referring to the 1966 Elf-Brandt versus Russell case, which asked the question, quote, is any association with any political organization which has committed crimes a crime by itself? The story behind the question started with an Arizona state teacher named Elf-Brandt who had affiliations with the American Communist Party and did not want to sign a state oath to renounce it. She sued the board member of her school district, Russell, for forcing her to swear an oath based on First Amendment violations. It went all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court, with them announcing, quote, any political group may embrace both legal and illegal aims, and one may join such groups without embracing the latter. Those who join an organization without sharing in its unlawful purposes pose no threat to constitutional government, either as citizens or public employees. End of quote. In the case of the Patriots, they did embrace the former with actual voter interference and assuming control of major government sectors. They pulled the strings on what and how the U.S. government operates without the public's consent. Now, this is treason, the highest political crime one can commit. And it only gets worse with the group's establishment of the Patriot AI to squash First and Fifth Amendment rights. Now, what is this AI I've been guiding us to? What does it want? Well, it is obviously the enforcement arm of the Patriots. However, it does have self-consciousness and even makes a horrific claim in connection towards us as American citizens.
Raiden, are you receiving? We're still here.
How's that possible? The AI was destroyed.
Only GW.
Who are you?
To begin with, we're not what you'd call human. Over the past 200 years, a kind of consciousness formed layer by layer in the crucible of the White House. It's not unlike the way life started in the oceans 4 billion years ago. The White House was our primordial soup, a base of evolution. We are formless. We are the very discipline and morality that Americans invoke so often. How can anyone hope to eliminate us? As long as this nation exists, so will we.
The AI claims to be us, U.S. citizens. It claims to be the Constitution. It claims to be the President, Congress, and the Supreme Court. Effectively, as long as the United States exists, it is the king of the nation. This has very dangerous implications because now civil rights are being governed not by a person, but a machine. In fact, the AI explicitly states that it is in our interest to give up our rights. How and why? Well, it makes scientific arguments by saying, quote,
don't you know that our plans have your interests, not ours, in mind?
What?
Jack, listen carefully, like a good boy.
The mapping of the human genome was completed early this century. As a result, the evolutionary log of the human race lay open to us.
We started with genetic engineering, and in the end, we succeeded in digitizing life itself.
But there are things not covered by genetic information.
What do you mean?
Human memories, ideas, culture, history.
Genes don't contain any record of human history.
Is it something that should not be passed on? Should that information be left at the mercy of nature?
We've always kept records of our lives, through words, pictures, symbols, from tablets to books.
But not all the information was inherited by later generations. A small percentage of the whole was selected and processed, then passed on. Not unlike genes, really.
That's what history is, Jack.
But in the current digitized world, trivial information is accumulating every second, preserved in all its triteness, never fading, always accessible.
Rumors about petty issues, misinterpretations, slander.
All this junk data, preserved in an unfiltered state, growing at an alarming rate.
It will only slow down social progress, reduce the rate of evolution.
Right? You seem to think that our plan is one of censorship.
Are you telling me it's not?
You're being silly. What we propose to do is not to control content, but to create context.
Create context.
The digital society furthers human flaws and selectively rewards development of convenient half-truths.
Because of our inability to make logical decisions and to restrain our emotions, the AI believes that the internet is just a cesspool of garbage. It says the freedom of speech, along with the internet, damages our intelligence as a species. Since we show no sign of changing our ways, the AI claims that monitoring technology and speech limitations are necessary. What speech will be limited is not clarified, which is concerning through a constitutional law context. Are videos of people burning American flags censored speech? People kneeling to the American anthem? Journalistic articles or videos of government officials committing unlawful actions? How do we know if this AI isn't also responding to a feeling of fear that it needs to check human activities? Because after all, it was programmed by a body of men who have human biases and are also susceptible to flaw.
It's our responsibility as rulers. Just as in genetics, unnecessary information and memory must be filtered out to stimulate the evolution of the species.
And you think you're qualified to decide what's necessary and not?
Absolutely. Who else could wade through the sea of garbage you people produce, retrieve valuable truths, and even interpret their meaning for later generations?
That's what it means to create context.
My final word for this arrogant reasoning is that their form of context is really a subjective agenda of how the country should be ran. Its ideas are not its own, as it was programmed by a body of error-prone men. Challenges and flaws are a part of the human experience. And to remove them, then humanity cannot evolve as a species. A utopian society is a lie from dictators, but an imperfect society produces strength from its people. It is with this reasoning, under the United States Constitution and various federal laws and provisions, the Patriots Organization and its AI are guilty of treason on violations of Article 2, the First, Fourth, and Fifth Amendments. Other major crimes include election interference and political or civil espionage. Thank you guys so much for watching, and see you guys on the flip side.